A housewife who doesn't cook ends up divorced, you know. Tom punched my belly lightly. I didn't think he used much force. But that was where my precious baby is.
Hey! Stop it!
Surprised by Tom's unexpected action, I reacted excessively. Tom, seeing me like that, chuckled.
If you don't like it, hurry up and make lunch. Look, even the baby is saying it. Poor dad's starving because of mom. Fine. I got it, so stop. Just not my belly. Don't hit my belly.
I screamed in a voice resembling a scream, and Tom finally stopped. I'm tired. Just do as you're told from the beginning. Hurry up and make it. Dash, like a sprinter. Tom said that, looking satisfied. Then he froze as he looked at the computer screen in front of him. Huh? I somehow got off the chair, distanced myself from Tom, and said while restraining him with scissors nearby.
This time, I won't let you make excuses. Well, there shouldn't be a need for that.
This is a lie, right? With this, I won't let him escape. This time, I'll expose his true nature. I am Hannah, 29 years old. I work for an electrical appliance manufacturer, but I'm currently on maternity leave, so I'm pretty much like a housewife. The reason for saying pretty much is because there's a reason. Doing some odd jobs and irregular remote meetings. I'm allowed to participate in those. That's because, due to my pregnancy, I entrusted the project I was involved in to my junior. I asked to participate to understand the flow of things. However, I rarely speak and am more of a bystander. Even so, I was happy to be able to participate and know the progress of the project. Seriously, that's just labor. It's a waste of time, and it's annoying. Stop it. Complaining in this dissatisfied tone is my husband, Tom. He's 36 years old, 7 years older than me. He was originally my boss at work. Tom, who was good at his job, was always relied upon by those around him. I was gradually drawn to him by his kind guidance. Getting married to Tom was fortunate, and people around us envy us, but he changed after marriage. Don't say that. Even if you call it work, I'm just doing odd jobs and attending meetings, right? Sometimes, I'm just observing. That's a waste. How about cleaning the room if you have that much time? I saw dust accumulating under the furniture recently. Tom pointed to the TV rack and the floor gap. It was a place I couldn't clean without bending down. I'm in the last month of pregnancy, and with this belly, it's impossible to bend down. So, it's true that I've been neglecting cleaning in that area. I'm doing what I can for now, but I'm sorry. In a situation like this, normally the wife's parents would come to help with household chores. But you don't have that. Ken said with a sigh. My chest hurt. My parents passed away in an accident 10 years ago. It's been 10 years already, but it still feels like 10 years ago. Yet, Tom casually makes fun of me for not having parents like I do now. And I always had to apologize. I'm sorry. I'm causing trouble. Then, Tom would always smile satisfied.
You're lucky. Being able to marry a generous guy like me. I never thought I'd marry an ordinary woman like Hannah, with no special qualities.
This is how Tom satisfies his ego. Every day is a barrage of sarcasm or bragging. He wasn't like this before we got married. Is it inevitable for people to change after marriage, regardless of gender? Furthermore, it's unfortunate that Tom has such a great facade that nobody believes me, no matter who I complain to. I get off-target responses like, "You're just being spoiled." Or, "It's good to be reliable." As everyone says, I could endure this much and just let it go. But recently, I've been troubled by Tom coming home after work. From the evening to the night, when the sound of trying to unlock the door, it's the signal of him coming home. Even if I was in the middle of doing some housework, when he comes home, I'd rush to the front door. And as I look at the opening door, I pray. I hope Tom is in a good mood today. When he's in a good mood, I only receive reports like,
"The company did well."
Or,
"I secured a contract."
The problem is when he's in a bad mood.
So annoying. Acting all high and mighty like it's a business deal. That outdated guy.
The moment he enters the door, Tom stomps his feet, making a loud noise. Welcome home. He tosses his bag towards me and heads to the bath, clicking his tongue. I was really scared of this whole sequence of actions. I considered divorce when this continued for several days. I first consulted with a colleague, but he didn't believe me. Tom? That's impossible. You're exaggerating. Look, you're pregnant and maybe tired, right? How about taking a break for a change of pace? The response was as if he was implying that I was the one being strange. It's sad, but I understand my colleague's feelings. Tom, when we worked together, was perfect in everyone's eyes. Always smiling, gentle, and calm. I don't think even my past self would believe that he could transform like this. Maybe it's just a passing phase. Perhaps he's becoming irritable because he's busy and tired. I decided to think positively. It's not like he's hitting me or anything. When he throws things or shouts, my body flinches, but he has never physically harmed me. Someday, he'll return to being the kind person he used to be. I hoped and prayed for that. No one would believe that Tom has changed. But except for one person. That's my Uncle Bob. My grandparents live far away, and my parents passed away. After the accident, I was left alone, but I had one reliable relative. That's my Uncle Bob, my father's younger brother. Because he moved to the city before my father did, he happened to live near our family by chance. Honestly, Bob looks scary. He's 6 feet 3 inches tall and has a good physique, so just standing there, he exudes an intimidating presence. However, he's incredibly kind and a wonderful person on the inside. When I was young, instead of my busy parents, Uncle Bob would often play with me. Back then, I thought of Bob as unemployed. That's how much he kept me company. I think he cared for me like a real daughter. You know, I was the first one to hold Hannah in my arms. He often joked like that and bantered with my father. So, after my parents passed away, it was indeed Bob who supported me. In my days, Bob took care of most of the procedures for me. When I didn't even feel like eating, he would make light meals like oats porridge or soup. I remember that I couldn't really say it was delicious, but I inadvertently put it in my mouth. After my parents' accident and my subsequent dropping out of college, Bob was the one who introduced me to a job. When I hesitated, feeling sorry for using connections, Bob said gently, "Don't get it wrong. It's just an introduction. It's up to Hannah how you work from here on out." I don't know. Unable to repay my parents, I want to repay Bob. That was my goal. I had put up with a life with Tom, who just spewed abusive language. But one day, Tom finally raised his hand against me. At first, it might not have been intentional. Tom was in a worse mood than usual that day, and I knew I had to be careful. But I was also not feeling well and didn't have the patience. So, I inadvertently muttered to the point against Tom, who would pick on everything. "Oh, shut up." The moment I said that, I knew the room had frozen. I messed up. I needed to apologize quickly. I immediately apologized, but it was too late. A magazine flew right by my face. Tom had thrown it in anger.
Hey! What did you just say? Did you call me noisy when I came home tired? Hey!
From there, it was useless to say anything. Tom kept throwing things one after another. Fortunately, he had rational, even though seeming crazy. Everything he threw was light or thin. Maybe because he had done it once, the threshold had become lower. From that day on, Tom, though weak, would raise his hand at me over trivial things. Scared, I thought of consulting Bob. Actually, Bob worked at the same company as us. He had introduced me to this company because he could be flexible with various things in the company. Tom hadn't said anything about Bob, so he probably didn't know they worked at the same company. But I had introduced him once, so he recognized Bob as my family. I was sure Bob would believe me. I had that kind of conviction. But, unfortunately, Bob was on a business trip abroad at that moment. Worried about me, Bob offered to listen to me over the phone if that was okay. For a moment, I thought I should lean on him, but Bob is that Bob. If he knew my current situation, he might rush over. That wouldn't be fair to the company and Bob. Helplessly, I decided to wait for Bob to come home. By the way, I also consulted my colleague and friends, but nobody believed me. Moreover, somehow, the fact that I was talking about Tom reached Tom himself. Tom apparently laughed sadly, was like, "I intended it as a form of physical closeness." Everyone completely believed this excuse. Thanks to that, I ended up being treated as just an overly self-conscious wife. One day, as I was working in my room as usual, Tom came by. It was unusual, Tom's day for remote work too. I knew this in advance. I'm hungry. What about lunch? Tom said, almost tossing it out there. Oh, just wait a moment. I'm working. Tom let out an irritated sigh. From that tone, I immediately understood. He's coming. The usual one. I instantly tensed up and prepared myself mentally. Usually, it's either the arm or the leg. And Tom approached me with a nasty grin on his face. A housewife who doesn't cook ends up divorced, you know. Tom punched my belly lightly. I didn't think he used much force, but that's where my precious baby is.
Stop it, please.
Shocked by Tom's unexpected actions, I reacted excessively. Up until now, he never went for my belly, no matter what. I curled up on the chair, trying to protect my belly with my own arms. Tears welled up from fear and anxiety. Seeing me like that, Tom laughed in amusement.
If you don't like it, then make lunch already. Come on, even the baby is saying it. Dad's hungry because of Mom. Ouch! Please! Please, just don't hit my belly.
Why would he do something so cruel? I'm his wife, and the one inside my belly is our child. I couldn't comprehend it at all. I don't want to do this thing. But, you know, it can't be helped. You don't make lunch. Dad's pitiful, huh? While speaking like that, Tom's hand didn't stop. He persistently hit my belly over and over. I couldn't resist much because I was seated in a chair, making it difficult. All I could do was defend myself as best as I could.
Okay. I get it. Please stop. Just don't hit my belly.
Screaming in a voice similar to a cry, Tom finally stopped his hands.
I'm tired. It would have been fine if you just did as I told you from the beginning. Hurry up and make it. Dash over.
Saying that, Tom lifted his face, looking satisfied. And then, he froze as he looked at the computer screen in front of him. I somehow got off the chair, distanced myself from Tom, and said while restraining him with the scissors that were nearby.
I won't let you make excuses this time. Well, there shouldn't be a need for that.
This is a lie, right? Answering Tom, who was all pale and flustered, was a person on the other side of the computer screen. I want to believe it's a lie too. I never thought you'd be such a despicable person. The one holding his head in his hands on the screen was the department head. Several other employees were looking at us with disgusted expressions.
No, it's not like that. I didn't hear anything. Yeah. I was set up. I was tricked.
Tom clung to the computer, almost groveling to the department head. You have a bad reputation. Didn't I tell you? I said I was in the middle of work, so wait. I didn't lie or deceive anyone.
If that's the case, then say you're in a remote meeting properly. If you did that, then
Tom started to say, then stopped himself, his face pale with realization. He was about to say, if you did that, then I wouldn't have hit you. He's a guy who cares a lot about appearances and what others think. Tom, a sly and cunning man, he wouldn't even rouse his hands against another person's or utter foul language at work. That's why nobody would believe me even if I complained. I felt a sense of despair at that time. However, after some thought, I realized something. If they wouldn't believe me, I needed evidence. Since I found out that Tom had a remote meeting today, I had secretly planned to expose his true nature. I just didn't expect him to attack my belly. It was my fault for being careless. Anyway, everyone at work is witnesses, so there's no escaping this now. Let's get a divorce. I don't want to see your face anymore.
No way! Hannah, without you,
As Tom uttered these pitiful words, someone started knocking at the entrance. As I was about to go, Tom stood in my way, trying to obstruct me.
Wait! We're in the middle of a conversation.
Is it okay to raise your voice like that? The computer is still connected. Oh. I quickly slipped past the distracted Tom and rushed to the entrance. However, I was caught before I could get far, and my arm was grabbed by him.
Stop! Let me out!
This place is out of sight from the computer, just perfect. Hey, let's come up with an excuse together. Should we make it a prank? That's the safest bet. It's more credible if you say it, so tell everyone.
No, I won't. I don't want to gauge your mood anymore, be treated like a slave, and be dominated by fear.
Someone, help! I screamed in my mind. At that moment, I heard a rattling sound from the entrance, and the door swung open vigorously as someone entered from outside. Seeing the person's face, I collapsed on the spot in relief.
Are you okay, Hannah?
It was my Uncle Bob, who apparently secretly joined that meeting. He had watched the video and rushed to our house immediately. Luckily, the front door was left unlocked.
Does it hurt anywhere? How about your belly?
Bob rushed to my side, pulling me away from Tom. And then Bob shielded me with his back. Thanks to Bob's broad back, I couldn't see Tom. Most likely, Tom couldn't see me either. Hi, Bob. You're Hannah's uncle, aren't you? Long time no see. As I secretly glanced from behind Bob, the cunning Tom offered a forced smile. Bob, straightening his posture, looked down at Tom. Bob is taller, making Tom appear very small and delicate.
Hannah, can you stand? You should rest on the sofa over there.
Ignoring the Tom, Bob moved me to the sofa while supporting me. Sitting down brought some relief. Tom tried to approach me, but Bob stopped him with grim face.
Rest for a bit, then let's go to the hospital just in case. That's too much. It was just a little shove. It's part of our intimacy as a couple.
How could he perceive it that way? Just stay quiet. Once we confirm Hannah and the baby are okay, we can talk. Don't worry, the meeting was recorded, so you can relax. You were watching that? So, we are in the same company. Tom clicked his tongue in frustration and fell silent. Really, what a terrible man you married, Hannah. Seeing Bob sigh with a stern expression, I felt somewhat apologetic and couldn't say anything. I went to the hospital and confirmed that there were no problems with the baby in my belly. I felt relieved, and my whole body relaxed. With that, Bob and I, along with Tom, headed to the company. Bob was like,
think yourself and the baby first. Leave the rest to me.
But in the first place, this is a matter between Tom and me. Even if it's Bob, I can't leave everything to him. There could have been a different day to address this, but it's about Tom. The more time we give, the more he might come up with something. I'm already in the last month of pregnancy, and I don't know when labor pains might come. It's best to settle this quickly now. I am a mother. I have a duty to ensure that this baby can be born with peace of mind. When we arrived at the company, we were immediately led to a separate room. It seemed Bob had made the arrangements. There must have been testimony from the employees present at the meeting. In the spacious conference room, the meeting members, Tom and I, and Bob were gathered. Bob handed me my bag, and I took out a piece of paper from inside. It was with a contact number of lawyer who assists divorce. I had prepared for it a long time ago and kept it in my bag. Tom's face contorted for a moment, but then he smiled uncomfortably. I also have some blame for things being misunderstood. I'll accept the divorce. I don't really care about the division of property. I'll pay child support too. Perhaps because we were in front of everyone, he was strangely understanding. With Tom's acceptance, the conversation proceeded smoothly. However, when we reached a certain point, Tom froze. Quit the company or be transferred? Yes. I plan to return after my maternity leave and childcare leave. It wouldn't be good for both of us if you were still here, right? So, I really want you to quit. Tom looked at me seriously and nodded. I see. But what about the company's perspective? What are you trying to say? I don't mean to brag, but I think I'm a valuable asset to the company. I have good performance. No problems with relationships. And I have a good reputation with our business partners too. Indeed, Tom, with his pleasant demeanor, was considered the ace of the company. A so-called immediate contributor. If things continued this way, it was said that he would undoubtedly become an executive in the future. On the other hand, Hannah is, for better or worse, an average female employee you can find anywhere. Oh, I'm not belittling you. Just stating the facts. I understand. Furthermore, if you're a single mother with a small child, you'll inevitably have more time off in the future, right? You'll surely become a burden to the company and your colleagues. I had thought about this when I became pregnant. I don't have parents to rely on. If something happens, I have to figure it out myself. That's unavoidable, but for the company, I might honestly be a troublesome employee. I understood what Tom was trying to say, even if I didn't like it. He was implying that the company would choose him, an ace and valuable person, who brought complicated risks even though he caused the problem this time, over me.
See? So, the best thing is to let this incident go and get along again. It's the best for the baby too. I don't want that.
Tom looked bewildered.
Tolerate and accept it again?
Are you kidding me? That won't change anything.
Do you want me to endure the hellish days of being constantly insulted again?
The employees whispered among themselves, looking at Tom with puzzled expressions. Especially the female employees were giving him cold glares as if he were a bug. Because we're a couple, we've had our disagreements. But it should be mutual.
Is that mutual? The ratio is way off, don't you think? I was always the one being pushed around.
As I retorted, Tom seemed unable to hide his agitation. You're like a completely different person. What happened to you, Hannah?
Well, until now, I've been patient. I had hoped that you might change someday. But I never thought you'd lay a hand on our baby.
The surroundings' gazes became sharp in an instant. Tom chuckled sheepishly. Sweat trickled down his forehead.
Hannah, that's why. Going back to the conversation, let's leave the decision of who will quit to the company. Is that okay?
Tom responded energetically. I wonder he was confident that if it's in the case he would be the one chosen.
Well then, we'll proceed with the divorce right away. Thanks for your efforts. Starting now, you and I are strangers.
Hang on, Hannah.
Goodbye.
I wanted to get away from this person as soon as possible. With my Uncle Bob accompanying me, I went to consult with the lawyer for divorce process. By the way, the Tom seemed to have some strange confidence, but his resignation was certain. It's a bit underhanded, but Bob is our president, in other words, the head of the company. Since the president is on my side, I already know the outcome. It feels a bit unfair, though. Muttering that, Bob furrowed his brows with a stern expression.
What? The one at fault is that guy. He doesn't even remember the face of the company's president, let alone act like he's some valuable talent. So arrogant.
I vented a bit to Bob. His face turned red with anger. Thanks to talking a lot, I felt refreshed. So, on the way back to home, we had a conversation eagerly anticipating the birth of my baby. I have no more worries. I can give birth in peace now. A few days later, I gave birth safely. It was a cute girl. Bob came to the hospital, tearing up like it was his own grandchild. I received a message from Tom saying, I want to meet her. Did this person forget what he did before my baby was born? I replied like, I can't meet you, it's too dangerous. I want to cut ties with him, but I don't want to risk him getting angry, so I've made the messaging app a way to communicate. By the way, I receive daily updates on his situation. After being fired from the company, he got a job in the same industry. But, because it's the same industry, rumors about Tom are already circulating. He lamented like,
everyone is cold to me, and I can't even get a girlfriend.
According to his colleague, Tom lamented like,
I could never meet an amazing woman such a Hannah.
Well then, don't do things like that. Now I'm discussing with Bob about my baby's name. We're struggling to come up with a good name. And Bob is already smitten, he's so affectionate that he won't let my baby marry anyone. I couldn't show this grandchild to my parents, but I'm glad Bob is happy. Someday, when my baby learns to speak, I want to make Bob be called her grandpa. Despite appearances, he'll probably burst into tears. I'm looking forward to it.